Let's roll. In-game live has begun, and I'll tell you what, France and Sweden have just begun as well. They started right as we hit the 5 o'clock hour. Let's do this thing. I am Gabriel Morency. We're going to be with you for the next 2 hours here on the grid, covering this France and Sweden matchup. Tom Vecchio in the house with us. It's been an electric start to the knockout phase of the World Cup already, and we nearly had another draw earlier in the day, but Erling Haaland actually muffed the kick. It still ended up going in. Heartbreak for Ivory Coast. I think Ivory Coast kind of deserved better, but it's a cold world in the knockout stage, and you got to, we see a lot of late goals. We saw last night with Morocco scoring that late goal. Now, speaking of goals, people are expecting goals in this game, although I will say the theme has been the game's indoors. This has been the most unfair, unbalanced tournament in the history of sports. You have some teams playing outdoors, you have some teams playing in the altitude, and you have other teams playing in air-conditioned stadiums. So it's 10-4 to the over when they're indoors in the air conditioning. They are not in air conditioning right now. It's 90 degrees over at MetLife Stadium right now. France have already played here, but they dealt with that rain delay and the lightning and stuff like that. So we're off and running. I'll give you my picks. I already posted them on X. Tom, what did you bet on this game? What do you have here?
Yeah, we're in for a great one. Let's get into Dua on France to score or assist. It's minus 122 with the FanDuel 30% boost. I'm using that specifically to get it up from minus 160 or so up to minus 122, under 3.5 at minus 125. And I'm looking to the corner market. Over 9.5 total corners at minus 130. Tight defense once you get down into the box. Deflect anything can. Let nothing on net. And therefore, we're going to be seeing a few more corners. Gabe, we are often going, like you said, the temperature for a lot of these teams is going to be playing a part. The altitude we have seen play a part for a lot of teams. Everyone's expecting France to advance. It's just a matter of by how much. How many goals are they going to score? Are they going to be able to cover the minus 1.5, which is roughly minus 140, minus 145, somewhere around there? The path that they have set up is just that much easier, knowing that Germany isn't going to be in this side of the bracket anymore. So just that much easier for France. Gabe, we're in for a good one now, and we'll be in for a good one later tonight.
Oh, I can't wait for the game tonight, actually. That's the one I'm actually looking most forward to. I've had my eye on this one. Ecuador, just, they're so passionate. They're so intense. And then you throw in Mexico. And listen, it's been great, the World Cup in Canada, United States, but the aura of Mexico just can't be beat. And, look what they did last night outside the team hotel. You wouldn't be allowed to do that here, all night. I remember Raptor fans did that to the Warriors, and the cops, let it go, and they cleared it out at about 1 a.m. They're like, all right, guys, there's other guests here. You can't do this. Mexico last night, they were literally letting off fireworks, guys, right outside the hotel, and nobody was stopping it. There were, drummers and horns and, tractors, and, Ecuador filed an official complaint. Yeah, I was over the top last night.
We see this all the time for UCL finals or semifinals or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
This is a thing that happens routinely in Europe. Look, very passionate fans, and it's exciting to see to an extent, but it's also something that, again, to your point, we are dealing with different circumstances and different environments that every team does not have to deal with.
Yeah, think about it, Tom. Some teams, you play earlier in the day in Houston in an air-conditioned stadium, controlled environment, or you're playing in Mexico with a bunch of nut jobs, lighting off fireworks outside your hotel. Like I said, and not to mention the travel discrepancies. There's just a lot of stuff, but nevertheless, because I was going to say, normally you'd say, well, listen, everybody's dealing with the same conditions, but that's my whole point. They're not. I mean, Canada's a freaking host nation playing games on the road. What are we doing? Right? I mean, Ecuador's been flying back and forth everywhere. They had a point about the scheduling, but it is what it is. Listen, guys, speaking of goals here, we saw last night it came back to bite the Netherlands. They were on the verge of victory, and it had been 8 straight games that have been able to keep a clean sheet, Tom, and they gave up that late goal to Morocco. This is hard to believe, guys, but Sweden, it's been 14 straight games that they've given up at least a goal. They haven't shut anybody out in a long time. All right, 14 straight games have given up a goal. And in fact, 6 of their last 7 games have had 4 goals or more. We saw in the group stage, they beat Tunisia 5-1, and they lost to the Netherlands 5-1, Tom. And then they had the 1-1 game against Japan. with that being stated, I don't know if it's a track meet because France aren't easy to score on. So I'm kind of looking at a 3-0 scoreline here. Hell, 2-0 wouldn't shock me, right? But I'd be surprised. I do think we end up getting 3 goals. And I guess the question is, do you think Sweden score in this game? That's the real question.
I think that's what would put it over the 3.5 if France wins the game 3-1. That's really the only circumstance because, coming into this, to your point, I don't think Sweden want to turn this into a track meet. They want to have this as controlled, play it close to the vest as possible. Gabe, we see this all the time in hockey. Like, there are teams that want to get up and down the ice, and Sweden's not one of them, at least when it comes to soccer, is the metaphor I've used. France,
they got into a track meet with the Netherlands and had it work out, right? Because they like to attack, but they are very weak defensively, Tom, like Sweden. They have a lot of gaps. There's big lanes. But they're going to try to tighten this up. And we've seen also, though, Tom, one thing with France in this tournament, in pretty much every match, despite the fact that, guys, they scored 10 goals in 3 games, 3.3 goals a match, Tom, they have been patient starters, right? Like, they're more of a second-half team. Like, France, they might score 1 in the first half, but you look up by the end of the game, you're like, oh, damn, we're losing 3-0. Like, they pile it on as the game goes on. So it'll be interesting to see how long Sweden go before giving up a goal here.
It really is. And to your point with France, with that, I've always felt for a while, and we've seen it in this tournament, to your point, is like once the dam breaks, that's when the floodgates open. And they also wear down teams where you could hang with France for 30, 40 minutes, but you can't do it for an hour. You can't do it for 90 minutes. They're going to break through, and once they do, the other teams are going to be forced into counterattacking. That's going to leave space for France on the other counterattack to put another 1 or 2 in. So the longer it goes is obviously in favor of Sweden, but it's really only to a certain point because France will break through, and once they get one, a second one's going to be coming sooner rather than later.
So I'm all over France here. I've got France and a bunch of parlays to win the game. We played Ivory Coast plus 1.5 with France, but other plays that we did put in, under 2.5 cards. I'm not sure we get to 3 cards in this game, guys. I don't think France are going to have to challenge Sweden very much, and maybe Sweden tackle them a couple of times. We're seeing these refs you could go Galuli, Nancy Kerrigan and get a crowbar out, and refs. They're letting you play now in the knockout stage. So I went under 2.5 cards here. Call me public, but I'm going with Dembele to score a goal at plus 105. Mbappe to score a goal at minus 170. At least I know one of them, Tom. You and I talk about it. It's almost like between the 2 wide receivers, right? One of them are going to score, but I think there's a chance both of them, legitimately do. France win over 2.5 goals, minus 161. And in case it doesn't, I'd be surprised if this was a 1-0 game, guys. So France 2-0, whatever. We laid the minus 1.5, and I bet a lot on soccer/football, Tom. So I've got a bunch of other sort of tie-ins. Really looking forward to the game tonight, and I don't see how we get 3 goals in Ecuador and Mexico tonight. But the 2.5s are like minus 250 to the under. So I got a head start with sort of France and the under and stuff like that on that Ecuador game tonight.
It's a good point. I was looking at some of the lines earlier for Mexico and Ecuador, and we're seeing 1.5s really across the board. And I don't think, I think there's a chance that, Mexico's done a phenomenal job on defense, and I think there's a chance that they advance with a clean sheet. So 1-0, 2-0, I think that really could be a route tonight. So if you're looking to get a piece that, as you said, the heavy juice at minus 200, 250, whatever it's going to be, adding into France, to win obviously in 90 minutes rather than the 2 advance to the next round line, which is minus 1100. You got to find your pairings of what you're looking to do.
Although I will say, we'll have time to get into the game. I'm telling you, I think Ecuador are in this game tonight. Although they've been, they have very difficult circumstances, but they put themselves in that position by needing the last game and the travel and everything. But I don't know if Mexico are going to be able to score in Ecuador. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was 0-0 after 90.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. And look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
We're rolling along here on In-Game Live. France and Sweden. The stakes are high. We're into the knockout stage right now, and you can't assume anything right now with any of these games. You figure, too, that France and Sweden would have a bigger history of head-to-head action, but hard to believe, Tom, they actually haven't played in 6 years. Last time they played was 2020. Their paths just don't cross very often. France, of course, one of the pre-tournament favorites, along with Spain. And Argentina were undervalued, Tom, coming into this tournament. And we see now France at plus 230. Argentina's path is a pretty clear one, although they would be on a collision course with a potential Brazil or an England matchup along the way. But, Tom, and I see Morocco right now at 19-1. Dramatic victory last night against the Netherlands. Now Morocco play Canada and Houston. Morocco were favorites in this game. Morocco and Canada played in the last World Cup. Morocco beat them 2-1. They're both better now. Canada are a lot better than they were, but Morocco are like elite right now. So, and they're coming into their own, and they're hosting the next World Cup, one of the co-hosts of the next World Cup, guys. So this is sort of the golden generation right now, Moroccan football going. A little bit of an irony, too, Tom. The goalie, Bono, from Morocco, he's actually born in Montreal.
Yep.
Yeah. Except that Team Canada sucked so hard when he was a kid, and he was elite. He was like, guys, I got to play for Morocco. I can't play for you guys. So it comes full circle. He already beat us once in the World Cup. But Canada are in tough, and Tom's got a piece of Morocco, a future that he put in nearly 100-1. Tom, great call.
Yeah, so back in December, on December 5th, that's when the pools were announced, the groups were announced for the World Cup. Obviously, it was right before, it was a little bit before all the final teams actually qualified, but they had enough. They did the groups, and FanDuel had a promo at the time that was bet on any future for the World Cup, and you get a, whatever it was, a 50% boost. So I've been on Morocco since December 5th when the groups were announced, and I knew, looking at the group, Brazil was going to be announced. Okay, Brazil would win the group, but Morocco could come out in second place, which is what we ended up seeing. I like the way that they play defense. Hakimi's obviously fantastic, but they had the experience, right? They came in fourth in the last World Cup. They beat Portugal and Spain en route to that fourth place semifinal last time. They just won African Cup of Nations, albeit by, extra circumstances with Senegal in that match. But they had the experience. They did bring in a new head coach right after AFCON at the end of January. So, a little bit up in the air there, but I like the way they play. They're 19-1 right now. I've been 98-1. I think I'm looking pretty good, especially after a bit of a miracle comeback last night.
And a favorable matchup now. We've got our first corner, France, with their first corner kick of the match. France started to dial it up a little bit right now. They just got a shot on target, actually, but it was a little bit from too far out. But at least France will try to get the ball on the net and try to make some things happen. Mm-hmm. And they do have the creativity and the magic on their feet. Didn't happen there, but you notice, Tom, over the last couple of minutes, the ball is starting to be on the Sweden side of the field a lot.
It really is. Right now, we're looking at, where are we, 68-32 in terms of possession. The shots on goal are 1-1, but it's really
I bet that, Tom. I bet that. Bet online, real cool. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Maybe I'm wrong, but they have time of possession prop bets up. And really? I bet this. Yes, sir. And I bet France over 58%. 58.5%.
And what are the odds on that? I assume they were heavily favored. But
no, it's minus 130. Minus 130.
That's fine. That's good. I like that.
You know, I figured that, listen, you knew. Yeah, France are going to, and France aren't a massive possession team, Tom, like some of these other ones, but you know they're going to be on the front foot against Sweden. Sweden are going to be on their heels here. Let's be real.
Didn't France lose the possession battle in one of their two opening group play games? They still won the game, obviously, but I think they lost the possession battle in one of them.
Yeah, it was the first one. Who did they play? It was Senegal or whatever. I bet it. And it was the same thing. Yeah, they won it. It was like 52-48, though, type deal. Like, right. Yeah, France, you know, they'll have the ball. France kind of do what they want to do, Tom. You know what I mean? Like, if they want the ball, they'll keep the ball. If they don't care, they're like, yeah, whatever, you guys, you got to pass it around. We're going to rest for a few minutes. They kind of, like, do what they want. But, like, some teams are, like, heavy possession, like Spain. You know what I mean? Spain will complete 800 passes back and forth, and right? But I'm not going to lie, Tom. I've lost more than I've won with this percentage prop bet. It's so sharp, dude. It's so sharp. Like, I've literally lost by, like, 0.5 percentage points a couple of times. Like, 1 point. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've got 60%. It was 59. You know, like, it's happened to me a couple of times.
But it is an interesting market. And, you know, that's what I really do. And now, granted, we're seeing a lot of markets for the World Cup that we don't normally see.
You gotta love all the different options, though, eh, Tom? Right. Like, you just look under the hood, man. You keep looking, you'll find stuff, you know?
Exactly. And on a normal EPL weekend, or if you're betting Serie A or La Liga or the Bundesliga, like, we don't have this menu of options. But for the World Cup, to see this many derivatives of a given market is really, really interesting. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, you can take a player to score or assist. You obviously can not be getting the same odds, but you can go about it different ways. The corners, time of possession market's a crazy market. There's shots on target, which are two different things. So find what works for you, and you got to change it matchup by matchup, because in one matchup, you're seeing a lot of shots. In the next matchup, you're seeing a ton of possession, even though you don't get the shots across, which I think is awesome.
We've talked a lot about the shot props, actually. Let's give people an update right now. So team shots on target, France actually have two. You know, they weren't great, but whatever. They do. They've got two shots in the game, and both of them are on target right now. Sweden have one shot on target. So updated number right now, shots on target for France in this game is over under 7.5, minus 120. And Sweden over under 3.5, plus 110 to the over right now, Tom.
7.5 for France. Yeah. They've already got two. Again, I think this is a spot where
France do give up shots. Yeah, you know, you can see shots coming in bunches, Tom, right? Like, put it this way. Would you be surprised if France had at least 4 or 5 by the half? I wouldn't.
No, they've already got two. You know, we are going to be coming up to the hydration break in like 3 or 4 minutes. So we'll look at that, but it'll give us a little bit of time to adjust things. But if they get to 4 by halftime, they'll obviously be on pace. But Gabe, is that a 90-minute market, or does that include the entire game?
90-minute.
Okay.
90-minute.
Okay.
France with a legitimate threat here. They put it over the net, but it's another shot. And as far as team shots are concerned, France is a total of 17.5 right now. They're sitting at 3.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect space for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
like,
on
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latin Nation Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Well, unfortunately, listen, you know when we go to a break, something's always going to happen. But Mbappe scored, and it was just such a magical moment and a beautiful goal, breakaway, special stuff, finishes it off. He was offside, barely offside. I wanted to see a VAR because live he didn't look offside, but you saw now with the line check. His hip was like basically like leaning over a little bit. Unfortunate. A player of his caliber, normally he'd be a little bit more patient, and he didn't really need to take off when he did. Either way, he's got the speed, Tom. He would have, he would have won the breakaway and won the ball anyways along the way. And now we go to the hydration break. But what a big turn of events there, huh? France would be on the board. They're not. But they're pressing right now.
Yeah, they're not on the board. That takes off what I assume a lot of people have out there, the Mbappe not only goal, but also Mbappe to score first. So I know we have the odds, or we have a graphic for all of his props, goal and to score first for Mbappe. So that's off the board. As Gabe said, we're coming up to the hydration break at this point. 65-35 when it comes to possession, still 2-1 when it comes to shots on goal for France. We're looking at everything else. I know people are betting fouls come into their betting corners, so we're tracking all that. 5 fouls for Sweden, 4 for France right now. Sweden do have the 2 saves if you're betting team goalie saves, and just the 1 corner for France thus far. But it seems, I'm going to say a little bit tilted in, not just a little bit, but pretty significantly tilted in France's favor, because Sweden got that first shot on goal within the first 10 minutes. And they really haven't had anything since. So, Gabe, we're at the hydration break right now. Any thoughts on what Sweden need to do in terms of, tilting the ice, so to speak?
You know what? I think Sweden, if you're Sweden, you're pretty happy. Listen, Sweden can't open things up. They're going to get killed on the counterattack. They really don't have a choice but to play on the back foot here and just hope that France missed the net a couple of times. I don't really see what they can do besides like just counter if they get the opportunity to here, Tom. But you brought up the save prop, and I hit this, I've been hitting this prop, the number, and it was the same number. A lot of the times it's the same number, guys, for these games. It's 5.5, Tom. Goalie saves, like both teams combined. And I'll tell you what, we're like whoever, and I didn't play this one. I saw it and I was like, yeah. And I just didn't. I played a couple of other exotics instead. But we're already at 3 saves right now, right? And there haven't been spectacular saves. They've been easy saves for the goalies, right? They've been longer shots, etc. But they count nevertheless. So I like to see if we can get an updated number here. So team shots is 16.5 right now. for France. They're at 3, Tom. It's plus 100 to the over. I like this. They got match off sides up. There's been one over under 3.5 to the over. Match shots 22.5. So we're only at 4 right now, and it's over under 22.5 right now. And one thing I like about the cards here, we played the under 2.5. It was a little bold. It was plus money at plus 120, but we've seen a couple of pretty hard fouls already, and the referee is like, play on. Like, there's definitely something to this here. Like, you really need to earn. You got to get your cleats up, essentially. Like, you get your cleats up, they're going to call you. But you could tackle someone. You could push people. Hell, we saw it today at the end of the Norway-Ivory Coast. Like, that was like a football game, Tom. Like, they started shoving each other for real. Ref started shoving people back. I loved it. He got in there and just shoved a Norwegian guy. Like, he's like, all right. They pushed him off. Like, it was like, all right, let's shut up and play. Let's go. Clock is ticking here. But I do believe, and I guess the question is now, let's look at the first half here, Tom. Are France going to score in the first half? I think they will. Over-under goals right now in the first half is 0.5, minus 138 to the over. Halftime result right now, France to win the first half is plus 125. I think that's not a bad look. I do think they're going to bury one, guys, in the next 25 minutes.
Right, and this is always a good way when it comes to, as we talk about, there's a menu of options. Halftime result for France to win, as you said, plus 125, and over half a goal in the first half is sitting at minus 130. If a goal comes, I think it's going to be France. So you might as well take the shot on the plus money rather than going to the minus 125, minus 130. And you can find these different derivatives across the board for half, team goals and a half, whatever it might be. And obviously, you have to figure out, the odds because it's always going to be a little bit different book to book. Because, Gabe, the line that you were talking about for shots at 22.5, you said it was minus 130 or so to the over, as FanDuel has these lines marked or are locked right now. 23 or more for FanDuel for shots, not shots on target, is minus 220. So that is a dramatic difference from something that's minus 150 or minus 130.
I almost have to bet it out of principle right now. I see it at Bet365 right now. Shots, 23.5, minus 110.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the ref's coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done. He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
First half continues at MetLife Stadium right now, and France are starting to dial it up a notch. They're looking for their first goal of the game here before the half ends, and there's Mbappe in the box. They're racking up the corners now, Tom. I believe we're up to 3. I think this is France's third corner. It is. So there's been 3 corner kicks in this game, all of them France, and as I stated, they're starting to dial it up a notch now here, Tom. They're looking for this goal before the half. And, Sweden, very similar, to college basketball I've talked about with the 4-minute timeouts, TV commercials. Coaches are, coaching us in installments. Get to the hydration break. Get to the half, right? If you're the underdog. And France are aware of this. They don't have a lot of time on. That's been a big controversy in this tournament. But we still have about 15 minutes of play here. And now's another corner kick for France coming up here, Tom. Now 4 corner kicks to none.
Yeah, 4 for France. When it comes to corner kicks, possession is starting to really tilt in France's favor. It's up to 71-29. The shots, though, they're not getting many shots on goal. They still just have 2. The shots overall that are not on target are starting to pile up. And Gabe, this is feeling like it's really tilting. It's really just a matter of time before Mbappe puts one off the post and it deflects off a Sweden player and saved by their goalie. So France right now, they have the pedal down. And they are pressing in terms and trying to get this first goal. Gabe, if you have an Mbappe first goal scorer ticket, or anyone out there has an Mbappe first goal, I feel so bad for you. You had 1 offsides and 1 off the post is as close as you can possibly get.
And Mbappe generally doesn't miss those, right? And you know what makes these strikers so good is they don't hesitate. And Mbappe didn't hesitate. He just let it rip, but he let it rip right off the goalpost. Which is another fun prop, actually, that a lot of books have. Will the woodwork be hit? And every game we're seeing these crossbars and goalposts are getting hit. And Mbappe's getting mad now, and like a goal's coming any second. like they're so good, you can tell, like France are like, we're going to score. Like this is, we're going to score any minute now. I still believe this goal is coming. I just clicked over 10.5 in-game corners. The corner's going to start to rack up as we go on here, especially as Sweden are on their back foot. And they put it right over the net there. But
yeah,
not for a lack of trying, Tom. You can't say France are standing back. They really are pushing it now.
No. So combined, we're up to 5 shots on goal combined, 9 shots overall in the game combined, 4 corners for France, none for Sweden. We're still looking at no cards, which I know you like to see. And honestly, that's what we want to see. We want to see these teams, get out there. Some fouls will be committed along the way, but let's keep the cards in the pocket. Let's keep these players playing. That's what we ultimately want to see. We've got to remember that the cards do add up. If the teams do continue on, players getting multiple yellow cards, they're going to have to sit at a certain point. But Gabe, here's the question. If we get to halftime scoreless, are we going to be looking at any other markets besides just France to win? Do we look to this game potentially going to extra time, and how or what time marker are you going to be looking for a potential 90-minute tie? Because that's still sitting at plus 320.
No, to be honest, Tom, if I'm sure you've noticed there's been a big theme in this tournament of games that people are expecting goals in, right? And it slows down, and the odds makers don't have a choice. They have to move off the 2.5 to 1.5s. And you talked about goals coming in bunches. So I would be thinking here. So right now, I'd be thinking about an over 1.5 here at the half, as far as, the total. So they really haven't moved too much off of this right now. I'm looking. So total here. So total's still at 2.5 here, minus 133. They're not moving off this, Tom, which shows me they're expecting France still to bury a goal here before the half.
They really are. The over 1.5 of the game is minus 300. That's not unbettable.
Because if we get if we get to the half, though, and it's 0-0 still, let's see what it is then, right?
Right.
Like, at what point, I'm surprised they're not moving off this. It's just France are coming so close to scoring. But, with added time, we're going to have about 13 minutes of time left here. One thing, though, guys, France really racked up the shots there, right? They really racked up the shots. Like, they're up to 7, and their team total is up to 19.5, and the game is up to 26.5 now, Tom. So that 23.5 was not a bad look at the time.
Right. And I will say just a quick update on some players. Isak on Sweden, the Liverpool striker, he has 1 shot on goal, 2 shots overall. So if you're betting to him, a player has been very solid for Sweden. He's got, 1 goal and 3 assists thus far. Mbappe has the 1 shot on goal. He has 2 shots overall. So, some of the main players stepping up as we always like to see. France continues to push. And it feels like a matter of time as we have a nice bicycle kick off the post and another one to follow up. And neither of them went in for France. You can't, Gabe, they are between Olise and Dembele. They are firing at every chance they get when they are getting close to the top of the box. And one of these has to go in.
They've hit 2 posts and have had an offside goal disallowed. They put a mini breakaway over the net. The mug just missed like a bend it like Beckham sort of volley. The only thing is, how this works, Tom. We've seen this a million times in hockey, right? And soccer's very similar. One team's all over one team, the other team scores a fluke goal. Right? Happens all the time. But I can't even get to get this in quick enough here. Guys, France are already up to 9 team shots right now. Their team total is 22.5, which sounds insanely high, but I'm going to take it. It's just like we missed out at the 17.5 a couple of minutes ago, but we're seeing they're just ambushing them right now, Tom. All right, 22.5 right now.
Yeah, Isak just got another shot. It wasn't on target for Sweden, so they're pressing with him. They're getting him into the middle. They want to get him some space. He's got a ton of speed, and they want him to score. You're right, Gabe. All it takes is 1 corner from Sweden and 1 header for them to take the lead. Meanwhile, they are on their back foot the entire time.
Olise's down now.
Yeah.
Pretty strong challenge. I don't really see, but you see what I'm saying? They didn't call a yellow card. A lot of other times to be like, yeah, that's a yellow card. Like, that was a pretty hard challenge right there, right? But, no, ref came over. He's like, no, get up. No. And he's just pointing everybody, go away. France are really arguing about this. He went down hard, too, but, they're just playing hard. It is what it is. But like you said, beautiful bicycle kick, eh?
Right, that sets a good precedent that we're going to see some challenges, we're going to see some strong tackles, but they're not going to result in cards unless they're egregious, which is good, which is what we want to see. From just a gameplay perspective, but also with the under 2.5 cards that you have.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, I just sort of saw the back shot, like a view of Dembele's view of the net. He should have buried that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
From the other side, it looked like it was a tougher shot than it was. When you saw it, from his angle, there was a lot of net there. And it just sort of sailed on him. But, a team like France is what makes them good. They're not going to get frustrated. They'll just keep chipping away, and eventually something will fall here. But they want one before the end of the first half. And like you said, Tom, Mbappe first goal scorers are just dying right now. The agony, the glory and the agony of defeat, Tom, all in one, right? Even I got up and jumped when he was on the breakaways during a commercial break. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's all alone. Here we go. And then it was a delayed flag, too. It was offside. Come on. Barely,
and it's
but
not just that. He could have 2 right now. If you have pieces of...
Yeah, ripped one off the post, yeah.
Right, I assume
golden
people
boot
out there...
Tops.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
I assume people out there are going France plus Mbappe, same game parlay. France plus Mbappe and Dembele each to record a goal or assist. Same game parlay just to get something closer to even money. And they are dying right now, knowing that there could be 3 goals on the board.
France are getting frustrated with the calls right now. They just sort of stole the ball and they got called for it. They got called for a foul. Man, it's been entertaining. France just can't bury it. They've had legitimate opportunities, one after another, multiple posts, disallowed goal. We'll keep you up to date with all the props, obviously. But France are up to 10 shots right now. 3 on target, but 10 overall. In-game live continues.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wasn't overly proud of the number I was getting because the total shots on, total shots for the game was 22.5 at that point. And we ended up betting France over 22.5, but they're racking them up. France are up to 12 shots right now. Prop is 22.5. And Sweden, 1 shot on target, only 2 shots. France are really pressing. They keep on coming close, and here they come again right now. Did they just turn a corner kick? Looks like we have a corner or a throw in coming in here. All right, we got a corner kick coming for France. Mm-hmm. We're in about the last 5-7 minutes or so, give or take, with added time here. This is as close as they can come without scoring, Tom. I mean, they're all over them here. I mean, eventually something's got to go in.
This is unbelievable that they haven't scored. I want to see. I mean, right now, their expected goals are at 0.92, so it is pretty solid. This is their 5th corner of the first half. They have 11 shots, 4 on goal. Sweden has 2 and 1. Gabe, you were looking at the saves market before. We were talking about Sweden has 4 saves, France has 1. And we have to assume that France are going to get more shots, and the Sweden goaltender is going to have to step up again. So I would assume he's going to have at least 2, maybe 3 more throughout the rest of the game. So the total saves market is looking pretty solid. We're at no yellow cards and only, 1 offside for France if anyone's betting into those markets.
And we should know, here they come again. No. Can they get a corner out of that? No, Sweden cleared it. France have had the ball 73% of the time right now. Like, it's been just one-sided on one side of the pitch. But, Sweden are going to look for, like, Elonga down the side here and try to just sort of catch France at some point. But France are so responsible. The only thing is, if you're France, we're seeing, Tom, there's really literally like 10 blue shirts up in the box right now. They're so frustrated to score. That's kind of the only threat, right? That Sweden just gets a long ball right now, because let's be real, Sweden are bringing nothing to the table offensively here right now. Like, they're no threat. They're on their heels.
No, they aren't. And to your point, the both teams to score market is no minus 210. And the yes is plus 160. So, if you're looking at it, people are saying, okay, France is going to score. They'll get 1, maybe 2. It doesn't look like Sweden's going to have anything. They just don't have the possession. They're not getting enough chances, as France is continuously firing shots from the top of the box. Another corner kick and another save. So these are coming fast and furious.
Oh,
and
all right. All right.
There we go. Finally.
All right. Mbappe says enough of this. Boom.
Finally.
Mbappe.
All right. So if you had an Mbappe.
Sweden can only last so long. Wow. Like right now, and I brought this up before we didn't get to it, like during the break, I was thinking, man, the sports books are loving this. Like first half, like, this and that. France double result, first half in game. France first half result, goal in the first half. France first half, Mbappe first half goal. All kinds of scenarios. And I'm just waiting for a flag or something, Tom. But no, this one counts for real.
Finally. And the Mbappe.
What a goal, too. What a goal.
Oh, yeah. Cutting from the outside to the inside, it was fantastic. But the Mbappe first goal scorer tickets have been, grinding their teeth over the past, 40 minutes, knowing that it's had multiple chances. He finally puts one in. So Mbappe to score or assist, which was minus 300, whatever it was, that cashes. I assume people had that with the France money line. Go ahead.
Not to mention, Tom, one of the most popular parlays of the tournament actually has been, because they keep playing on the same day all the time. And actually, I'm almost kicking myself for not doing it now. Erling Haaland and Mbappe, same parlay, both to score. But, it's funny. Erling Haaland was absent in this game all day today. It was like he wasn't there, and he scored the late goal to kind of salvage it, right? But, it's funny. If he doesn't score and they lose, he gets called out for, like, being a no-show today. Like, he was nowhere to be found until that goal. And he was set up. He didn't have to do anything on the goal.
Right, and credit to Ivory Coast for marking him in the box and really keeping him off his spots and to that point. But 6 shots on goal. For
Sweden just came like a millimeter away from tying this. Unbelievable.
Great cross. Doesn't get that through and fires it high and wide to the right. But, Gabe, like you said, all of the Mbappe props are cashing at this point. And again, when they come, the goals come for France. They come in bunches. Sweden's going to be on their back foot for the entirety of the second half. They're going to have to open up space to counterattack to get one on the board to tie things up. And it's only going to play in the favor of France for having more time and space along the wings and then creating it in the middle for Mbappe, Dembele, or Lisi. So good stuff from France. They got one across the board, and Mbappe gets first goal scorer.
What makes France so lethal is they won't get complacent. We see a lot of teams get a 1-0 lead, and they start to play on their back foot a little bit. France will not, right? France will be like, no, you know what? Let's get another one and another one. And, Mbappe's playing for the Golden Boot. He's playing for the legacy, and I'll tell you what, though, Sweden are pressing here late.
They certainly are.
This would be wild. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Let's see.
They're getting some good chances. Sweden's getting some good chances. And we want to see more consistently in the second half if they can get some.
I'll tell you what, guys. They're lucky that was offside. It might have been a penalty kick here. Buddy on Sweden got taken down hard in the box, but the play was dead. It was offside. It would have been a PK. He was in the box. Yeah, it would have been a penalty kick. He got clipped. Alonga got clipped, but it was offside. You see this, eh? Like, man, give credit to Sweden for pressing late at the end of the first half here, Tom, after giving up the goal. France are sort of in celebratory mode here, and Sweden are taking advantage of it.
And it's good that, like you said, you're making points about what coaches want to achieve at certain portions of the game. Sweden, they're not saying, okay, we only let up one. Let's get to halftime without letting up another. They're saying, no, they're actually going to push back and try to get some chances across to get some momentum going into the second half, because they could have just parked the bus and just said, we're going to do the same thing that we did in the first 40 minutes of the game, which is keep France in front of us, limit the shots as best as they could and get to halftime 1-0. But they're actually taking some good chances, which is what we want to see. We want to see Sweden with a real scoring chance in the second half to give us a truly compelling storyline.
Which I think also, guys, does set up for goals to come in the second half. We're seeing Sweden are going to press. Sweden are a pretty good offensive team as well. And France are going to bury on the counterattack. As you see, France are just all over them as well. They've had the ball 72% of the time as we officially head to halftime right now. 1-0 France. In-Game Live continues. I'm Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it with Tom Vecchio, SportsGrid Television Network, and more. Shout out to whatever platform you are watching us on, including Roku. All right, so we're at the half right now. Our boy Big Card Julio Rosario will join us in a couple of minutes. We'll take a look at tonight's Mexico and Ecuador tilt that just has so much drama involved with this. Listen, anytime you have Mexico, you're going to get drama in these South American countries and now Ecuador and their flamboyant coach. And, like last night was a great example. Like Paraguay, Holland scored last night. Netherlands scored last night. And there was a review of the goal after, and Paraguay bitched so much while the review was going on. They got a yellow card despite the fact they got the call. I just laughed out loud about that. They're like, no goal, yellow card for complaining so much. And, Ecuador has filed an official complaint with FIFA and the World Cup about that Mexico allowed their hotel to be ambushed last night all night. And it's going to be so lit there tonight. Yeah, it's ironic because Ecuador are one of the few countries that won't be thrown off by the altitude and the elevation of this. They actually have altitude in Ecuador as well. So I can't wait for this game. But let's go over some of the numbers here at the half. 1-0 France. 6 corner kicks for France. 0 corner kicks for Sweden. 15 shots for France. 6 shots on target for France. 3 shots for Sweden. Just 1 shot on target. 71% possession rate. 71% possession rate. For France at the half. Dangerous attacks, 38-15. Attacks, 58-31. France dominated the first half. France are lucky not to be down 3-0 right now. We saw Sweden press, Tom, at the end of the first half there. So I'm saying for those over 2.5 bettors right now, I still wouldn't panic. I still think that 3 goals in this game are in the cards.
It certainly is in the cards. I mean, minus 180 line, the live line for over 2.5, the minus 180 certainly looks good. So you are on the right side of that if you're holding that right now. I think the more interesting market right now would be both teams to score the no and minus 150. Looking that France wins this game 2-0, 3-0 is really what we should be looking at. I just don't know if Sweden have enough in the tank to get one across. They looked good at the end of the first half. After they gave up that goal, they were certainly getting some chances on the board. But those chances, I'm just wondering how many of them, what kind of volume are we going to have from them in the second half? Because, Gabe, they may only have 5 chances, really, in the second half if France, keep the pedal down. I think France want to get the next goal on the board early, and then they can control the entirety of the second half. And then it really comes down to some of the storylines, as we were talking about, during the break. Mbappe with the golden boot, he's chasing history, he's chasing this, that, the other thing. They want to get that across. Looking at the over 9.5 corners market, as you said, the live market for that for total corners right now is sitting at minus 420 for over 9.5. So that's certainly looking good. As you mentioned, we have no cards for either team right now, and we're looking at 6 total saves, 5 for Sweden and 1 for France.
Yeah, so the updated numbers right now, match shots on target, 13.5. Over 13.5 is plus 110. Under is minus 150. The rate of this game, you would believe that there'll be more. There's normally not that many shots on target like this, though, so it's a little bit of a rarity. But we're already at 7 right now, just for the record. So we're at 7 shots on target combined. This is combined, 13.5. Team shots on target. France have 6 shots on target in this game. Their prop now is 10.5, plus 100 to the over. Under 10.5, minus 138. Sweden has 1 shot on target. Their updated number is 2.5 shots on target, minus 120 to the over 2.5. So Sweden would just need 2 shots on target. Total match shots combined, this number is just skyrocketed up to 32.5 right now. 32.5 over, minus 138. Under, plus 100. Team shots. France are at 15. Their number is now 25.5, plus 100 to the over. Sweden have 3 team shots. Their number is 7.5 right now, Tom. Anything catch your eye here?
The discrepancy between the lines are crazy. To have 25 or more shots for France, I'm seeing at minus 150, and you just said it was at plus 100. That is a crazy discrepancy overall. The only one I would look at right now would be Isak on Sweden at plus 175 to have 2 more shots on target. He already has 1.
Big Card Julio will join us on the other side. We'll break down tonight's card.
The older players in the WNBA going, hey man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too. But yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. You know, Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. And look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
In-game live continues. I'm Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid Television Network. Tom Vecchio in the house with us. We're at the half right now. France lead. Very dramatic and entertaining first half of football in which France had numerous opportunities. They hit the crossbar. They hit the goalpost. They missed the net. There were nice saves. It was an ambush, but they managed to get one before the end of the half. Mbappe had a goal disallowed due to an offside, but it didn't stop him. He's so good that he scored anyways again after the fact. So Mbappe was a little pricey. I got it at minus 170. I saw it as high as minus 200, but that's why it's good to have multiple books, as we see, especially in the World Cup. Like NBA, NFL, Tom, a lot of the numbers will generally be the same, right? It might be a yard different type of thing. But you see with soccer in the World Cup, you really will have different numbers at different books. Let's bring in Big Card Julio. Right now, Julio, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. What do you think of that first half, and what do you think happens in the second half, more importantly?
Over 2.5 goals, I definitely see happening. It was a very entertaining first half. I mean, if you look at expected goals, it should be 1-0, but France just kept putting the pedal to the metal. 6 shots on target. If you like corner kicks, you have to imagine you want to take the over in the in-game market right now, just considering the situation Sweden are in. They need to get that equalizer. So entertaining match. You know me, Gabe, I love betting the under. So when I see at halftime any plus value on an under 2.5 goals, I'm kind of tempted to take it. But Isak right now, 4+ shots is plus money, plus 225 on one site. So I'm going to take that and roll it into the second half.
Okay.
I don't know if you like that, Tom.
Yeah, I just mentioned
Tom, you're into
Esau
that
for a
stuff.
second shot. Yeah, for a second shot for plus 175 because he's already got the one on target. They seem to be getting a few chances. I was in the pregame market of 9.5 corners at minus 130 or so over that. So we're going to be cruising towards that. What do you expect from France? Are they going to be covering the 1.5? Because I know you said you like the under 2.5, but a lot of people are looking to them on that 1.5 spread market. Do you think they can get another one across? And how soon do you think that's coming? Because if it's for me, I think France, they want to score before the 60th minute and then just cruise throughout the rest of the game.
I kind of think I was thinking 65th minute, between the 65th and the 75th minute is when I think we could get a second goal. But I agree with you, Tom. I think France are going to want to put the pedal early in the second half, try to take Sweden out of this match. But Sweden are also going to want to apply some pressure. They can't afford to go on to a counterattack late in the second half. I mean, 3 shots total in the match, which is 29% possession, is kind of pathetic for Sweden. So if they want to stay in this match, they need to score early. So if we're going to see a goal, I would say maybe within the first 20 minutes of the second half.
I was going to say, I talked about the time of possession prop, Tom. It's an interesting one, but you're a big stat guy, and BetOnline actually has expected goal props up too. So you could bet like expected goal for the game. Stats like this is for Mexico. The Mexico plus 181, under 2.5, minus 240 right now. But a lot of different interesting props up there. Time of possession prop for that game tonight, guys. Mexico to have the ball 52.5% of the time. Julio, it's been an interesting prop that I've been betting on in this tournament, but this game, listen, it's France. Wow, the second half's already coming back here, but it's France. It's like you got France, you got Sweden, you got these big high-profile teams playing, but this Mexico-Ecuador game, to me, is almost like the game of the tournament. Like, I don't think people realize what an all-out war this is going to be tonight. Like, seriously.
And considering the proximity, the atmosphere in Mexico has been tremendous, especially for these South American sides as well. The market's obviously expecting a low-scoring game. Question is, can we get a goal in this match, at least to make things interesting? But I kind of think Mexico can get it done in the 90 minutes, plus 125. I'm going to roll the dice. I think Mexico get a late goal and win this 1-0.
So that
what do you
means
think
we're
the
going to
score, Tom, is?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. So that means we're going to see Mexico with a 4th straight clean sheet victory. And not just 1-0, it's the 4th straight. Is that what you think we're going to be seeing? Because, we're seeing the 1.5s out there, and even the 2.5s. The 2.5s are just minus 250 to the under. So it's Mexico in 90 minutes and Mexico clean sheet, obviously.
Yeah, you know
Mexico
what, though, guys?
Go ahead, Gabe.
The favorite, the expected thing to happen here, like the lowest odds, like this is pretty wild. A 0-0 game after 90 minutes is plus 450. A 1-0 Mexico win is plus 450. Okay. Right? So, like, basically the book is telling us, yeah, it's 0-0 or 1-0. Right? A 1-0 Ecuador win is plus 750. A 2-0 Mexico win is plus 800. Like, they don't dangle plus 800s out there that easily. Like, Ecuador, that hard to score on, Tom. Like me personally, I'm going to be rolling the dice on this at plus 450. We hit a correct score last night in the 1-1 game at plus 700. We're going to get cocky and try to hit this one at plus 450 at 0-0, Tom. I literally believe that this game could be scoreless after 90 minutes tonight. If not, Mexico crack through and win 1-0.
Right. I want to know, Julio, your take on it, because I'm looking at the both teams to score market, and I'm looking at the no. Minus 160, minus 170 thereabouts. It's got a little bit of juice, but where would you bet it to? Because I think minus 160 or 65, I think that's good enough for me on the both teams to score the no.
Yeah, I would agree. That's what I'm looking at. Both teams to score no. If you do like Mexico to get a clean sheet, Mexico win to 0. 1-0 is plus 225. I'm seeing shop around for the best price. Minus 172. Both teams to score no at one book. So the market definitely shading that way, Gabe, and I'm kind of impressed by these expected goal props. That's a whole nother layer that could get me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you know what? They're kind of sucker bets, like you said. Like, you're going to fall into it. These numbers are all so sharp. They're like Super Bowl props. But one thing I will note, there is a big difference in the prices with the correct score market. Like last night was a good example. Like I got it at plus 700 and it was plus 450 in a lot of spots. So I'm looking right now at kind of a few places I bet at. I got plus 0-0 is plus 450, and I got another one here at plus 475. Mexico to win 1-0 plus 450. Ecuador to win 1-0 plus 650. I mean, the books are, put it this way, Tom, if there's a lot of goals tonight, someone's going to cash in big because nobody is expecting this. Like, you don't see numbers this low too often.
Right. This is when we see like a Thursday night game with a 38.5 over under, and we have it, it's 20-10.
Yeah, it turns into a track meet.
It's just flying over. Like, no one was talking about passing yards, props, receiving yards. Probably, they're terrible offense.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, we got points flying left, right, and center.
Yeah, let's look at those shots on target type stuff. They got to be light.
Right.
I'm curious about that. Let me.
I was going to say, are there any other derivative markets, shots on target, corners that you're looking for in this upcoming Mexico-Ecuador game tonight?
0-0 first half draw plus 120. I'm adding that to my pocket right now, and highest scoring half. I'm going to take the draw plus 180.
Okay.
I see a 0-0 in the first half, guys, for tonight's game at plus 120.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Like I said, I'm looking here right now. Here we go. Here we go with the shots. I got player shots.
To hit the woodwork, that's an interesting stats. To hit the woodwork, plus 150, minus 195. So they hit the woodwork.
It happens every game. I brought it up earlier. That's the or goalpost. So either one.
Goalpost.
And it happens all the time.
I like the wording in that. That's one of those where you have to know the rules before you bet if you're going to go to these exotic markets.
Right. No way. And also make sure the difference between the 90-minute market and the full market. Obviously, books have very big discrepancy between those odds.
One thing tonight, too, guys, the card prop. Over under 3.5 cards for Mexico, and it's shaded to the over. like, odds makers are expecting a lot of yellow cards and fouls tonight.
The older players in the WNBA going, hey, man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too. But yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done. He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
In-game live continues. We're kicking it here, and of course, it's inevitable, Tom. I don't know how much it happens to you. Happens to us all the time. There's always touchdowns, or the big three-point shot always happens when we're on a commercial break. But it's inevitable when you're on a lot. It's going to happen, and it just happened as France. We talked about France. Good call, Julio. I brought it up earlier as well about France wanting to get that. They're going to want to pull away here. Marcola with the goal in the 53rd minute. We got a 2-0 game for France. France are in control right now. And now, guys, is where the goals could come, Tom, is Sweden have absolutely no choice but to absolutely open things up.
They really do. And so it was a Barcola goal. It was also an Elise assist. So if people are betting into the, to score an assist market, I know it's super heavy for someone like Elise with the juice there, but to record an assist that cashes, that means Dembele, Mbappe, Barcola, and Elise all have goal or an assist. I assume people have those in SGPs or whatever it is with the France money line, those through the roof. So that gets in. The shots on goal now are really starting to pile up, and shots overall for France. We still have Julio around right now to give us, stick around for one more segment. We talked about France. We talked about Mexico. Let's turn to tomorrow with some big games. Starting off, England gets us going early in the day, USA later in the day. Let's start with the USA game. What are you liking in that one?
As soon as I saw the number, I just thought, I don't know why the market is so high on Team USA. It's more respect to Bosnia than anything else. I'm just looking at it right now. To advance, USA are $5. I mean, that's to say Bosnia are one of the poorest sides in the tournament. I don't think they are. I think Bosnia hold their own. I almost think just on the value side of things, Bosnia to advance plus 405, I'm going to take a little bit of that. And even in the 90 minutes, plus 855. This is Team USA. This isn't France we're talking about. This isn't Argentina. I like Team USA. I think they're playing well. Maybe the best World Cup group stage performance they've had in terms of offensive performance. But come on, plus 855 in 90 minutes. For me, all the values on Bosnia. That's where I'm going tomorrow.
This is where the problem comes in, guys, in which, as you stated, the USA had a spectacular group stage. Can't take anything away from it. Don't worry about the loss to Turkey or whatever and all that. But with that being stated, with the loss to Turkey, the United States men's team have now lost 10 straight matches to European opposition, 13 straight winless against European nations. The last victory against a European opponent came on March 28th, 2021 against Northern Ireland. USA won a friendly 2-1. That's how long it's been. Across that span, the USA have scored 7 goals and conceded 22 times. They've been shut out 4 times. They've not scored more than 1 goal versus a European team in the last 11 games, with the exception of this Turkey game here. I mean, Tom, you add all this up. Now, the break part is here. Nice of the FIFA crew to make sure they get Martha Stewart celebrity shot in during this game. Nobody cares. But Bosnia, they're not a European power, Tom, but at the same point in time, Bosnia have lost like once in their last 11 games. That game to Switzerland, where it got away from them. They were men down, and it got away from them late. They beat Italy in penalty kicks to get here. They're a battle-tested crew. They're not as skilled. USA have the offensive firepower. I don't know if you remember and you saw the first game of the tournament with Bosnia and Canada. Canada were kind of all over them, didn't bury it, but it ended up 1-1. Like, Bosnia are not an easy team to play. They're going to grind this thing down and make it a defensive battle tomorrow.
I would say the same, just looking at some of the markets for Bosnia, even Bosnia and draw the double chance in the 90-minute market is at plus 210, thereabouts. I want to get Julio's take on Senegal, because I think a lot of people have respect for Belgium. I still want to say that the golden generation is past at this point, but Senegal are a tough team. They made it to the final in AFCON. Obviously, they won, they lost, it was taken away, et cetera, et cetera. But, Senegal to advance at plus 148 is certainly catch my eye. Belgium, not that impressive in my book, and I think they're good. I just don't think that they're great. I don't think they warrant a minus 180 or so price.
Agree with everything you said, Tom. Senegal defensively have been standouts in this tournament, and I think all the values with them here in this match. Under 2.5 goals, a strong value for me. It's just whether or not we think this game's going to go into into extra time or not. So in that case, Senegal to advance plus 135. Going back on that Bosnia, I saw Bosnia plus 1.5. I'm going to take that at minus 140 and willing to roll the dice a little bit with Senegal PK on the spread at plus one.
That's the one, Julio. That's the one, Tom. I do believe. Like you said, Belgium. Listen, Belgium stepped it up. They got Doku back. That was a big addition.
Right.
Things finally went their way against New Zealand. I think that wakes them up a little bit. But at the same point in time, to me, Belgium-Senegal has draw written all over it and penalty kicks written all over it. Like, I could see this being 1-1 after 90 type of deal and going to penalty kicks. And we didn't get to the England game with Congo tomorrow. England, minus 775 to advance, minus 347. Not easy for England being in they're going to have to play Mexico in Mexico. So what's your take? Are you going to roll the dice? Congo have a live shot here? Does England finally step up, Julio?
Yeah, I'm going all dogs tomorrow and rolling the dice. Just one, way too much value. And England showed me, quite honestly, I mean, if it's just between us three, I think Ghana got screwed against England in Foxborough. Should have been a penalty awarded. They should have won 1-0.
Should have been, yeah.
I won't digress. So England, there's a lot of concerns. No Phil Foden. You think a guy like him coming off the bench in the second half could create a little bit more offensive explosion. I just love the African sides, the way they play defensively, and England's just not showing me nothing to which they could break down a strong African defense. So give me the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
We only got 30 seconds, Julio. Does Canada have a hope in hell against Morocco?
I think they do. They need to play strong defensively and get it to extra time. But I think Canada can do it, Gabe.
You know, they need to score the first goal. Like, if Canada can score the first goal, it'll change the dynamic. They've only scored the first goal in 2 of their 4 games. Thanks, Julio.
Thanks, guys.
Older players in the WNBA going, hey man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too. But yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. You know, Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the 3rd time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
All right, we're rolling along here on In-Game Line. Thanks to Big Card Julio for kicking with us. We're to the 62nd minute right now at MetLife Stadium. Barcola and Mbappe have put France on the board. We got a 2-0 victory, one of the preseason, pre-tournament favorites and powers. I mean, France's dominance in international play has been second to none for, they're the most consistent nation. Other nations have come and gone along the way. France are the most consistent nation. I mean, Tom, they've made it to 4 of the last 7 World Cup finals, right? Brazil haven't won since 2002, right? Spain had that one win. They dominated the Euro. They had a little pocket there. Argentina sort of pops up every, 10, 50, 20 years, whatnot, and wins one. But France are just that consistent. They're there. Look, Germany have faded, etc. It's incredible the consistency of the France program. They lost the last World Cup on penalty kicks. Hell, Mbappe had a hat trick in the World Cup final last time, and they still lost. And I do believe that we're on a collision course for a rematch here. You look at Argentina's bracket, and France will have to go through Paraguay and Spain after, etc. But they can handle anybody, and I do think it's going to be France and Argentina in the final again, Tom. That's what I think is going to happen.
They certainly look like the two best teams. I do believe very firmly that those two teams are in a tier of their own, and you want to put one at 1A, 1B, whatever it might be. It really just comes down to if they have the slightest off game, what would that look like for one of those teams? If we see, who would challenge Argentina? Who could realistically challenge them? But it's not going to be Switzerland. Yes, it's not going to be Switzerland or Colombia. I think they would end up meeting Brazil or England. Yeah. Not really seeing that. I can't fathom a path for another team to actually present a true difficult matchup for France, especially now that Germany's gone. And listen, if France and Germany played, I still think France is the better team. I think they would have gotten past them, but it would have been a little bit difficult. Just to give a quick update on some of the things that we've seen. We got 8 shots on goal for France, 1 still for Sweden. Gabe, we're up to 18 shots for France on 18 shots overall, 8 on goal. We have 7 corners for France, 1 for Sweden, and we're still sitting at 0 cards.
8 now, Tom. 8 now, so we're up to 9. We got 8, 8 corners for France. So we're 8-1 now with the corner market, up to 9 corners right now. Updated corner number in the game is 11.5. One thing we'll say is, you figure, all right, Sweden have to open this thing up and attack a little bit, but that's not been the case, Tom. France have dominated the second half again. They've had the ball. They've had the scoring chances. They have the goal. There's been a dominant performance by France. They're just too much for Sweden.
It really is, and it took a little while for them to break through with the goal call back from Mbappe. He was offsides.
But we talked about that off the top of the show. I brought it up. France are they ease into the game.
But this is, to me, I would, the metaphor that I would use is France is like a snowball rolling down a mountain. Like, it takes some time for them to get momentum, but once they hit a certain phase, then they're just cruising. Then they're just rolling over teams. And that's really what we've seen, not only from every game in the group stage, but as we get into bracket play, once they get the momentum and they find their groove, there's not really any team that can compete with them. They're going to get past Paraguay in the next round. It's going to come down to what? In the round after that, it would come down to the winner of Canada-Morocco. Morocco is the favorite in that match. They're certainly better than Morocco. It's looking like a pretty clean path to them getting back to the finals, as we've been talking about.
Yeah, I'm hoping Canada has one more, somehow one upset in them. And then we just, even if we get drilled by France, still we could say, yeah, we made the quarterfinals. We got killed by France. But, you want to play the big teams. At some point, like Jesse Marsh talked about that. He said you can't dodge the big boys forever in the World Cup. It is what it is. I think the Netherlands probably would have been a better matchup for Canada, just because they're a little, they have cracks defensively, unlike Morocco do. But, and you talk about it, like Canada are going to need to be so mentally disciplined for 90 minutes. And we talk about this with the Swedes. You brought it up earlier. You can't do it, Tom, for 90 minutes. It's hard. Like when you're on your heels for 90 minutes, you can survive for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Eventually, you get tired. You're going to make a little mistake. The mental breakdown happens, and then boom. We saw it tonight with Sweden. Sweden just have not been aggressive enough, but they don't have the ball. I mean, France have just been dominant and showing their class here right now. France are up to 20 shots right now, 9 shots on target. Remember, it was 10.5 at the half.
Yeah.
We're in the 68th minute right now with the hydration break. So I got over 22.5 team shots. I need 3 more there. Still 0 cards in this game. No yellow cards given. 9 corner kicks as of now.
The older players in the WNBA going, hey man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too. But yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. You know, Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the 3rd time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
like,
on
stop
the
jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
We're rolling along here in game live, and Lise. Thought we had our 3rd goal there. And you know what? Normally there's a goal during a commercial break, and I saw people in our chat saying, come on, let's get a commercial break goal. We come back, and I look up, and Elise storming down the pitch. Nice save. But there's another shot on target, another shot. They're up to 21-10 now. So there's been 25 shots in this game, 8-1 corner kicks. Still some corner kicks. There's still some work left to be done, Tom, for the pregame at 9.5 corner kicks, and I got a 10.5 in game here. So I need 2 more corner kicks, and if you got in pre-market like Tom at 9.5, then you just need 1 more. You got to believe there's a couple of more corner kicks coming here, though. We'll see if Sweden gets some sort of activity, Tom. Like, if they can get anything going around the box here, you know?
Right. I assume there's at least 1 or 2 more corners coming through. I will say that was the 2nd shot on goal for Elise. So Mbappe has 3, Elise has 2. Mbappe has 4 shots overall. Elise actually has 5 shots overall, and 2 of them are on target. So if anyone is using the shot on goal or shots market, we're certainly piling them up for France. As Gabe mentioned, it's up to 21-10 for France. They are certainly dominating things. France still up to 64% possession time, as Gabe has an interest in that market. He's betting one of those over on Bet Online. I believe you said that was. And it's just 10-1 in the shots on goal. And really, it's just a matter of, can Sweden get 1 on the board? Or does France just win this game 2-0, 3-0? That's really what it comes down to. And that does hang things in the balance when it comes to teams betting the both teams to score market. If you have that pre-flop, I know a lot of people will be looking for that outcome as well.
But I will say that I think Sweden just got screwed for a corner. And here it is. They did. They did get screwed. And that just enrages me. They did. They just even showed the replay, and they knew when they went back to it. You know what really, really is frustrating about that, though, guys, is in a normal game, and here we go. Mbappe. Man, this golden boot battle is one for the ages. There it is, Tom.
It really is.
He does it again.
Pass.
His greatness.
Great pass.
His greatness. And look at this, too. There's the one thing, Tom, coming into the tournament. Remember with Conte and Mbappe, they didn't shake hands, and Thierry Henry sort of had a little kind of like, it seemed cryptic to me before the tournament. He goes, you could be a great goal scorer and stuff, but you have to be receptive to all your teammates. And it was sort of a shot that Mbappe kind of lives in his own world a little bit too much, but I really like what I saw there. Like, you notice when other people score, Mbappe's happy. You can't fake that. He just scored. The entire team ran over. Everybody and that makes France scary, Tom, because France are their own worst enemy over the years, right? Like, the only thing that can kind of beat these guys is sometimes they have drama and they're not all on the same page in past years. This team is all on the same page. All right, him and Conte aren't best friends. Who cares, right? But, this team is on the same page, and you see it. Like, they don't care if it's Dembele, Olise, and Dembele's going to have his turn, you know what I mean, coming, Tom, in the future. They're on the same page, this team right now.
They really have to be, and this is one of the things that you'd like to see with the experience that they have making it to the final of the last World Cup. Little interpersonal issues between teammates about this player does this player does that. I think they might be reviewing this. Are they going to be reviewing this? So we'll see when that comes up. But there are greater things at hand.
It's good. It stands. They checked it, but it's good.
So this one's staying, but there are greater things at hand that the team can accomplish. You got to put some of these personal things, put them on the back burner for now, bury them, whatever cliche you want to use. But there are greater things at hand that they have a chance to win the World Cup. You've been to the final, you lost last time, get the goals on the board. It doesn't matter who it is. You can be happy for each other. And I think it's good to see them excelling right now. Gabe, the 3.5 market I was looking at pregame, and as I said, coming on the air, under 3.5 was one of my bets for this game. It really is in the balance right now because I could easily see France pouring in just another one just because there's going to be another counterattacking opportunity, and they're just going to have too much time and space and too much skill up at the top for Sweden to deny them that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Their quality, they finish. Well, we talk about it. They were unlucky in the first half, but you see France's skill. When they get an opportunity, they finish it off. And even though Sweden, they're not going to quit here. They're going to want to score a goal. They're not going to want to get shut out. But like Tom stated, it's going to lead to big counterattacks. And here comes France on a counterattack here. I just need one more shot to get over my 22.5 team shots. Right, here it is. They kick the ball. Oh, and he passed it. I need one shot, Tom. That's a good thing about the shots, too. Doesn't have to be on the net. It could sail into the 18th row. Just boot the ball at the net, somebody, and get this 22.5 out of the way. But we should be all right in another 15 minutes time. But, dominant performance and kind of a sportsbook nightmare. This one's playing out to the way people thought it would, Tom. The public is going to be on top of this. France minus 1.5, and Mbappe scored. The books are getting hit. Paulie Public's going to win on this one.
Yeah, it seems that the days that France and Norway play on the same day, the Mbappe-Holland goal parlay is probably not too much. The book's not too much of a fan of that. It wasn't just Mbappe to score. It was Mbappe first goal. It was Mbappe for 2+ goals. Like you said, the France minus 1.5 is looking all but done at this point. All France. And at this point, if we can let's see if we can get a quick check on some of the markets for what they are, because I assume they jumped to their future number. If I can get this up quickly, France right now in terms of their future for outrights is, what are we looking at for them? They're down to, I don't have this up right now for team futures to winner. They're down to plus 190. There we go. Finally loads. Plus 190 for France at this point for the tournament. I still think there's value in Argentina, plus 440. That's a great number on a great team.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. And, looking at those numbers. One thing, too, and I like France before the tournament started. Tom, but with that being stated, dude, France have to play Spain still. It's not like France are going to be minus 200 against Spain. You know what I mean? They're going to be plus money, right? It's soccer. So you get plus money like in these pick'ems. Like France are going to be like plus 125 or something like that. Argentina, that game's going to be a toss-up pick'em type of game. Same thing. So I don't think, like, if you're late to the party right now and you didn't get to France at plus 500 before, I don't really think you need to click it now, Tom, considering who they have to play moving forward. Right? Like, you're going to get the same prices moving forward anyways.
Right. And it's not like if you miss the boat, you can't be jumping in now. And we see this, time and time again when teams make trades or big acquisitions. If you don't bet them prior, you can't be betting them after they acquire the big player. You missed out on the chance to get that value.
Speaking of which, the Raptors are 22-1 now.
The Raptors for Kawhi. Right.
Yeah.
But there are going to be opportunities to bet France at a good number moving forward, just based on the path that they play. And again, I would have loved to see them play Germany, just because I think that would have brought us an extremely high quality game overall. But you're going to get good numbers on France, and there's going to be different ways to back them. And you could just keep rolling that over and get better odds than plus 190.
I'm getting killed here. I'm at 22.5, and France are around the box and stuff. And every time, like, they're complacent a little bit now, like they're passing. Everyone passes all the time more. It's like every time, like, shoot the ball. They always look for that extra pass. We should get one shot at some point in the next 15 minutes or so. But I feel better just to get this out of the way because France are just sort of kicking the ball. Now, another thing is, too, the time of possession is coming down a little bit because Sweden had to press a little bit. Sweden are going to have the ball a bit, potentially moving forward. So a lot of stuff to keep our eye on moving forward in this game still. It's like an NFL game. Until the final whistle blows, there's always somebody that's sweating something out. Here come France again here right now. And there's the shot. All right, so we get to 23. I can breathe easily, Tom.
There it is. I'm still waiting on one more corner, then it will be good.
Yeah, exactly. In-game live continues. We're into the 83rd minute right now at MetLife Stadium. It's 3-0 for France. France are looking the part, guys. They've now scored 13 goals in 4 games. Been a dominant run for them. Mbappe's just netted another 2. The Golden Boot chase has just been epic. Haaland scored earlier. Remember before the tournament, guys, I gave you guys that prop, Erling Haaland and Mbappe to score more goals in Canada. I thought it was going to be a lock. And it came into today 9-9. And Erling Haaland scored a gift, and now Mbappe scored 2. So those two have started to pull away a little bit. But, you know, Tom, I played a bunch of parlays and a bunch of stuff, futures before the tournament as well, to win the group and all kinds of different stuff. I still have another one kicking here, and this is to make the round of 16. So to basically get to the round of 16, I've already got Brazil in here. So the parlay was France, Spain, Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, all to make the round of 16. Brazil is in. Europe, France is about to punch their ticket right now. Spain, I'm not worried about Spain. Argentina got Cabo Verde, like we caught a break there. Portugal, Croatia is kind of the one that concerns me a little bit. That game is in Toronto, guys, and there's more Portuguese people in Toronto outside of Portugal anywhere in the world. There's more Croatians outside of Croatia and Toronto outside anywhere in the world. Ticket prices, the highest ticket price, Tom, $30,000 in Toronto. Like you have two bases, and it's Ronaldo in Toronto. It's their dream. Like, yeah, like the most expensive tickets, and it's a smaller stadium in Toronto, right? It's the home of TFC. So it only holds like 40,000 or so, I think 44,000 for the World Cup with expanded seats. So yeah, it's a hot ticket. I do think, and Portugal were a trendy team, Tom. They were sort of one of those, you pick Morocco, nice call, but, you know, other than the big 3 of Spain, Argentina, and France, a lot of people thought Portugal were that sort of dark horse. They haven't overly impressed people in the group stage so far, but I do think they'll get it done against Croatia, but that's the one that concerns me a little bit.
There's, you know, reason for concern. I think a very cautious, you know, way to approach it is like you should be, if there's any weak link is what you're referring to, of the teams to make the round of 16, this would be the one. You know, Croatia's always been a team, whether it's been in World Cups or in Euros, where they're always a little bit pesky. Like they're never among that top grouping. If you look at a, you know, Euro tournament, it's always gonna be like, oh, everyone's gonna be looking at England, France, Spain, Germany. But in that second grouping, it's like, well, you know, is it going to be Belgium? Is it going to be Croatia? Croatia is always a team that can provide a little bit of trouble. And knowing that they have a nice home crowd backing them in Toronto is something that I'm going to be interested in looking to them, you know, even on the 90-minute line at plus 400 is certainly
we played
very
them in the last game, Tom. We told people online last time. I know Toronto. I used to live there. So I told people last game, I said, by the way, this will be like a Croatian home game, the Croatian game. And it was. And they won.
Right.
And they won. Right, so it's good to know sort of like community things and stuff like that. To throw it out there, actually, and I didn't even know this. I live in Vancouver now. There's 100,000 Colombians here. I didn't know that.
Okay.
It's a lot. And because, yeah, Colombia won the other night, Tom, and like literally the streets got taken over. And I was like, they're not even playing here. What the hell is going on? Like you know what I mean? Like, like, what's going on? And they were like, yeah, there's like literally 100,000 Colombians in the Vancouver area. And their next game, if they win, is here. And if Switzerland wins, it'll be Switzerland and Colombia and Vancouver. Like, that'll be lit. And Colombia would beat Switzerland. I think this Colombian team's good, Tom. I don't know how you feel about them, but I think they actually are good, Colombia. They're a dangerous team.
They're good. I love that they shoot, you know, from outside the box, the first chance that they can get. They really push the pace, which I love to see. We should note just quickly that Mbappe and Olise both came off.
Checked out. So, smart move, too. I was going to bring this up a couple of minutes ago. In the 82nd minute, Tom, I was going to bring it up, actually, that, you know, you don't worry about a hat trick now, guys. We're into the knockout stage. Get them off the pitch. Get these guys off the pitch.
So that's important to note. If you were betting on an Mbappe hat trick, that is gone at this point. The over 9.5 total corners that I spoke about as we're coming on the air, that one cashes. We're sitting at 9 for France, 1 for Sweden. We're up to 24 total shots for France, 12 on goal for France. And the saves we also talked about before, up to 10 total in the game, 9 for Sweden, 1 for France. And it's just a matter of, will France get a fourth one across, or can Sweden put one on the board to cash the over 3.5 and the both teams to score market, Gabe? Both of those are in the balance in the last, 5-6 minutes or so of this game.
Yeah, my interest right now is one more corner kick. I've got it over 10.5 in game, and we could be looking at a near clean sweep. The only loss would be is I did bet Dembele to score as well, but we could take that. And we need Sweden. Like, France don't have a bill. Here they are. Oh, wow. Big save. Big save, France. What we needed, Tom, what I needed was the ball to go out of bounds. I need the ball to go out of bounds to get that corner kick. But, Sweden, at least you see, Sweden are trying to score here. They know they're not going to win the game, but they don't want to get shut out. And plus, everyone wants to score a goal in the World Cup. It's a big deal, even if you lose. So hopefully, we'll see what happens here, that Sweden doesn't tap out. I don't believe they're going to have too much time on because it's 3-0, Tom. They don't really have much time on anymore anyways, with the water break and stuff. So, we're running out of racetrack. We got to get a corner kick in here. So we're going to be back at 9 o'clock Eastern later. We'll give you some picks before we're done on the way out. And then tomorrow night, Tom, is the big one with USA and Bosnia. And I see online there's a lot of smack talk and a lot of, uneducated soccer opinions about, well, look, if this team, Paraguay won and this team, it's like MMA math. It doesn't work out that way. Oh, this guy beat that guy once in the amateurs, and so that means you can beat him in the UFC because that guy lost to this guy. Nah, it doesn't really work that way. But so there's a lot of sort of, USA this, USA that. But in the betting world, there's a lot of people that are saying Bosnia this, Bosnia that, just because of the massive number. I'm going to be very interested to see the markets tomorrow once the game finally is here and the world starts to bet this game, which way it starts to go. But I do believe, guys, and even though I think, Bosnia presents some value with some exotic bets and stuff like that, all right, they only added 4 minutes, like I said. They want to get the hell out of here. 4 minutes added. Well, we're into what I guess I would call this is like garbage time of an NBA game where you're just begging for like, man, I need another three-pointer. I need another this or that. And you got guys off the bench and you're like, come on, man. We're running out of racetrack and real estate and pitch here right now. We're in the final minute. I tell you what, too, France are almost looking for a fourth, just, for the fun of it. And Sweden have had a couple opportunities bouncing around the box and, to earn a corner, but they're slower to the ball. Like the guys on France don't want to give up a goal now. And we'll see here, Sweden, there's about a minute left in this game. We're just looking for one ball to go out of bounds off of someone on France. We just need someone to drill it on Sweden here, Tom. Drill it. All right, he did, but it didn't go out of bounds, son of a.
It went up in the air.
Sweden. They're trying.
Give them credit for pushing at the end of the half. And, Gabe, what's your number for possession? Because I'm seeing 62 right now, 62-38. You're at what? You had 58.5, you said?
Yeah, so it barely won. Now we're officially done. The game is over. Full time, 3-0 final score, 62-38 time of possession, 9-1 corner kicks, finishes at 10. France finished with 25 shots, 12 shots on target. Sweden finished with 8 shots, 3 shots on target. So, wow, there ends up being 33 shots in the game. And France move on. France move on as expected. The powerhouse juggernaut that is this French side, Tom, is basically looking unstoppable right now. And France moves on and will now play Paraguay. And this game will be in Philadelphia. So they're staying on the East Coast here. Limited travel for the French.
Very, very good for them in all aspects. They got a win. Mbappe got some goals, continue his race for the Golden Boot. As you said, easy bit of travel for them over the next few days, going from MetLife down to Philadelphia. As I talked about coming on the show, Dua did not score or assist, came on late as a sub, so that's lost. But the under 3.5 cashes at -125, and the over 9.5 total corners at -130, that also cashes. So a couple nice wins there. Gabe, should we turn our sights for Mexico, Ecuador? As you mentioned, we are going to be coming back on the air for an hour at 9 p.m. I think we should get in some Mexico-Ecuador bets right now. I'm looking at the no on both teams to score, which includes, at least on FanDuel, which including extra time, the both teams to score the no at -148. And then also looking at a 90-minute correct score, Mexico 1-0 at +410.
Yeah, we've been, we always tell people to get a head start on this stuff. We started talking about this last night. So we've already got Ecuador at the back end of a parlay here with the Ivory Coast Norway under, in-game under 4.5 France, and Ecuador +1.5. And I'm already on the under 2.5 in this game tonight. But I'm going to roll the dice tonight and believe that there will not be a lot of goals. I'm going to bet the under 1.5 goals, Tom, at plus money. And I like those correct score props. I personally think, and I'm going to have more picks, and we'll post them before the game. We'll be back as the game starts at 9 o'clock Eastern here on SportsGrid tonight. But I wouldn't be shocked, guys, if this game was scoreless after 90 minutes. And that's in the plus 450 range right now. And or maybe Mexico wins 1-0. And as Tom just mentioned, you're getting that in the plus 400 range right now, So there's nice value in that market, guys. And then you get into the 2.5 is -250. It's so expensive to the under. I think the 1.5s are in play here, and I do agree, Tom. I mean, listen, we talk about it. I mean, anything can happen, and it could be 1-1, right? But the chances tell me that either no one's going to score or somebody's going to score one. And Mexico don't lose at home often. I mean, I just can't wait to see how this game plays out, actually. Like, the pageantry of this is going to be nuts.
Right.
Like, you can't top, Canada, USA, all right, whatever. Like, you really think a USA-Bosnia game, guys, that, in Santa Clara, California is going to be intense as Ecuador and Mexico in Mexico City? You got to be kidding me, Tom. Like, this is going to be, legit fire tonight.
It's going to be an amazing spectacle. As Gabe said, we'll be coming back on at 9 for the start of this game. We'll have more picks than Gabe. The under 3.5 market is unbettable. The under 2.5 market, as you mentioned, at minus 250 is borderline unbettable. You can't bet the over half a goal and trying to find the middle because the math doesn't work out. A goal scored in both halves, the no is minus 174.
Oh, yeah, and I'll tell you what, scoreless in the first half is plus 120. We'll see you at 9 o'clock, everybody.
The older players in the WNBA going, hey, man, we were here when they were paying us nothing. We were here when we had to go overseas to make a paycheck. You're walking in here, you don't realize how easy you have it. So there is some of that too. But yeah, Jordan got beaten up. Magic got beaten up. Bird got beaten up. Kareem got beaten up. Wemby is getting beaten up, by the way.
Outspoken with Dan Sileo. Only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. And look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.